PodcastEatWrestling.com. I'm here with the War Master himself, Josh Barnett, talking all things GCW Bloodsport. Josh, how you doing today?
Not doing well. Had a nice first night here in New York with Ariel Helwani, and then doing Story Wars, Luis J. Gomez and Big J. Okerson last night.
Got a big weekend ahead of you. Bloodsport is this Saturday night. How exciting is it for you for Bloodsport to be one of the biggest indie shows now on the planet?
Um, I think we've come a long way, and I feel like at this point we've proven that while very unique in the realm of what's out there in the world of pro wrestling, especially on the indie side, um, we have something that the fans can relate to, that's attracting the interest that stands out and stands on its own, which is good because you know it's always an issue that as you get into something that's well established, you don't want to try and just come off as the same thing that already exists.
Right now, we have a poll running on the side, so get your voice heard. The favorite fight for Bloodsport, the options are Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jonathan Gresham, John Moxley versus Josh Barnett versus Minoru Suzuki, and Natty Neidhart versus Miro Yamasada. What is your favorite fight in Bloodsport history?
The match against Minoru Suzuki for our first show, um, it really does hold a special place in my heart, and I really do feel like it was a very good match overall, especially a good way of starting off what would now be our 14th U.S. show, and now we're going to be going on to our second international show in September in London. So it was a good main event for that first show to establish who we are. And the last time I wrestled John in Tokyo was also that was a hell of a match as well, and we got voted in the match of the year contention over in Japan with the Japanese press. We didn't win, but we did get nominated. So, but otherwise, I mean, there's been a whole lot of just incredible matches in Bloodsport. I think Masha versus Shayna was a great one as well.
Yeah, agreed. The dynamic of the change of working with WWE, working with AEW talent, how has that affected Bloodsport? And do you think it's helped you guys as you evolved?
Absolutely, it has, and we love that these larger companies are willing to let us have access to their athletes and trust that what we're going to do is going to help everybody out in the long run, because ultimately I look at these blood shows as special events, kind of special occasions, and to just get in the ring is a feat in and of itself. Not to say like we're just sitting around there and we're so elite that other people can't be in the ring. It's just that there's a very specific thing that we're looking for, and if you check all those boxes and you have that capability, then you could find yourself in Bloodsport. And with that, I feel like it elevates everyone who steps on the mat.
Do you think one of the cool concepts of Bloodsport is that people have gone out of their way to want to work for Bloodsport and reached out to you, and it took possibly going to upper management in these companies and a concept they are excited about working to get involved in?
I mean, I'm very honored that we've had such a strong um, signal from the wrestlers themselves and wanting to come and be a part of what we're doing here. And I always say that this is a show built for wrestlers to wrestle in, and I want to attract the attention of those that can be in this ring, that can do this style, but are just driven to have that moment there. Because there's a lot of folks that, whether they be in WWE, New Japan, AEW, what have you, they're wrestling on the regular, quite possibly. And, or let's say someone like a Natty Neidhart, who's just, I mean, she could retire tomorrow and her name is cemented.
Yeah.
Yet she still wants to get out there and get in that ring. and put it all on the line. And to want to do it in this ring's a big deal. At least, for me anyways, I'm always
Sure.
proud to have him there. So sometimes, yeah, I guess it will take the wrestlers themselves going to, the office to say, hey, look, I really want to do this. But I guess from our perspective, we just need to keep making sure that this is the ring that they want to do that for. And be it one of the companies like WWE or AEW or what have you, or even whatever the case may be, that people also say, you know what, yeah, that's a great idea. And we 100% get behind you doing this.
The evolution of Natty Neidhart is something I wanted to discuss with you. The change in her attitude from WWE's presentation of her to what she's now
Mhm.
redone and reborn herself on the Indies right now. How special is it to see Natty in her element doing what she loves?
I love it. And um, in a lot of ways, she is indicative of many cases that have either spoken to me and private and haven't actually been in Bloodsport yet, or that have come through and put their feet in their blood, sweat, and tears on that mat. And that is just, you know, there is a drive and a want and a desire to go out there and wrestle and to be specifically in this show, to be able to do something that isn't really available to them somewhere else. And we love being able to have the wrestlers be able to scratch that itch here, but also just help like fuel that fire. And now they can take that back to wherever they're at, whoever the company they're working for, let's say in this case, can see what's lurking under the surface. And with someone like Natty, you can see that there's a total killer there. But that Natty has always existed. I've always
Right.
known that was a side of her.
We have a good question from Matthew Rodriguez. And by the way, everyone watching us here on Podcast Steve Wrestling, drop your questions. We will get to as many. Super chats go to the front. Matthew Rodriguez asks, will you be interested on bringing Mina Shirakawa up because Mina was backstage on the Bloodsport shows? Could you see her being a part one day?
I don't know. I mean, that'd really be up to Mina. And to be honest, there's a ton of people maybe that folks don't even know about that have been backstage at the shows. There's a lot of wrestlers that wouldn't necessarily even want to do Bloodsport, but they just love being there. They love watching the shows and they love being a part of it. Again, I think a lot of that's the overall aura or feeling that it is a show for wrestlers. So, of course, the boys, as they say, would want to come out and see it. And we appreciate people like Mina and others being there to be a part of that journey and to see it. And I know that there is some time spent on the mats in Orlando at Rudo's and things like that. So, I mean, look, if she wants to, if Bloodsport was something that was sitting in the back of her mind somewhere, she wanted to a ring she wanted to get into she's never been in before, then who knows.
Good follow-up question from Piers Wrestling. Will you be interested on these NXT talents, Obafemi, Tony D'Angelo, and Yoshika Inamura? My overriding question to that is, what is the process like? Do they reach out to you? Do you reach out to WWE? How does that exactly work?
Well, to answer that guy's question, I mean, I'd have to always study the wrestlers and take some time with them. Now, that Inamura, I already know from Noah. So with the Japanese training system and the way that they usually come into professional wrestling, it usually is a lot easier to take someone from the Japanese side of things and from the American side of things and slot them into something like Bloodsport because of they have an emphasis on combat sports for professional wrestlers over there. And a lot of people that get into pro wrestling come from at least having like a judo or amateur wrestling background, if not something else. That being said, I mean, to answer your question, it's a myriad of ways that it can happen. Yes, we have discussions where we might, make some requests for some specific athletes if it's possible, and also we'll get someone like WWE, let's say, with a list of names of people that they think would be good for this, that they would like to see them, go out there and work. And between the two, we just all try to communicate and work it out the best way we can, and put together what we think is the best show.
Shayna Baszler was the first WWE on TV talent to step into Bloodsport while still being on TV.
Mhm.
What does Shayna mean to you personally and to Bloodsport?
Well, if I wanted to get super nerdy about it, like Shayna is like the captain of my Mournival, so to speak, if we're going to go like Warhammer's 40K nerd stuff. But she is, I think she's my longest student. Um, and she is the second student I ever trained to be a pro wrestler. The first one being Eric Hammer. And to see, we got to the UFC at one point, although she had been fighting for a very long time before she'd ever even stepped foot into a UFC cage. And then from there, we transitioned into professional wrestling. And look, we like 8 years at WWE with a hell of a career and a hell of a run there. So I'm incredibly proud of everything that she's accomplished, and knew that this was not really that surprising to me that she could do it, because I just knew what kind of talent and what kind of capability that Shayna possessed. And I'm really happy to see all that she's accomplished, and when the opportunity to have her actually be in Bloodsport, it was just like a full circle moment.
One of the cool things is when you look back in the history of Bloodsport and before you were even part of Bloodsport, this question from John, one of the big names that were in the first Bloodsport was Gunther, aka Walter.
Mhm.
Could you ever imagine Gunther back in Bloodsport again?
Oh, quite easily. But, the guy would have to have a much lighter schedule probably
Yeah.
for that to happen. And, there's a lot of names that get brought up, and that we would love to have compete in Bloodsport. But the reason why that's not happened, let's say, is because they're just so damn busy, and the things that they're doing are taking priority. So, and as selfish as we like to be with getting the best talent as we could, seeing these wrestlers being so successful that there just isn't a gap to get away from, the programs that they're doing and the feuds that they might be involved in, it makes us happy. It's great to see people kicking so much ass out there.
Who's the one person, male, female talent that you haven't had on Bloodsport that you're dying to have?
Uh, I mean, for me, that would be people like Tsuyoshi Kosaka, or like, I don't know that Kiyoshi Tamura would still work any matches at this
Mhm.
point. I know he's been retired a while, but that's where my mind goes. Does that necessarily mean the biggest, most noteworthy impact for, let's say, a majority American audience? Probably not, but I got to go with what I love best
Sure.
always. So to me, it would be really cool to bring a person like that to this ring and in front of a U.S. audience. Even though if it was someone like Gunther, who would be amazing to have in Bloodsport, that would probably give us way more bang for the buck. But it's not always about that.
When you think about, and when I think about talents that have yet to be able to get into Bloodsport so far, one that ranges in my mind is Claudio Castagnoli. His size, his physicalness. What could you imagine having Claudio in Bloodsport, just like John Moxley before, have an impact for you?
Man, that would be fantastic. And I have actually tried multiple times to get Claudio in the Bloodsport ring, and it just hasn't happened yet. For one, I'd like to have another chance at locking up with him myself, and I can't think of any place better to do it than Bloodsport.
Your match with him at AEW Forbidden Door, and that's coming up soon, is one of my favorite matches in that run for AEW. What is it like to work with AEW and WWE kind of at the same time?
Um,
And
I
New
mean,
Japan.
for New Japan and I have obviously a very well, if I guess obviously maybe to you, but to those that don't know, like I got broken in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was Antonio Inoki that got me into professional wrestling, and he was one of my main mentors in being a professional wrestler. So that history there is very long and storied. But for me, it's really not that big a deal, I guess, to work with companies like AEW and WWE and New Japan and who have you, because I mean, I'm just out there trying to do business, and I'm not the hardest guy to work with. And I understand everybody has their requirements, which may differ from, which definitely is going to often differ from each other, and may even differ from what I'm looking for. But at the end of the day, I feel like if people want to put stuff together and they want to make these things happen, they want to be a part of them, it's really not that hard to make it happen. And because I'm not building something that's a rival castle to any of these companies, I'm just building what I want to put in the world and what I know. And with that, we're not really going to, step on each other's toes in that sense. But it also is a great place where they feel like, I'm putting words in their mouth, but they clearly must feel like that their talent is going to be respected, the matches and the time is worthwhile to put them out there, and that everybody's going to win at the end of the day, which is what's important.
Speaking of winning, we have a poll up now. What town are you most looking forward to seeing this weekend for Bloodsport? The options are Natty Neidhart, Pete Dunne, Masa Slamovich, and your most recent announcement, the War Raiders. What can we expect from the War Raiders at Bloodsport?
Oh, probably like setting little village houses on fire. I don't know, like pillaging and stealing spoils of war and jumping off of longboats and the whole nine. I just expect nothing but ferocity out of them.
When you think about Eric and Ivar and their evolution from where they were on the Indies to where they're at in WWE now, they're custom built for Bloodsport, are they not?
Well, I mean, I have spoken to Eric quite a bit in the past, and I know that he has some combat sports background himself. They're definitely big, very athletic, very dangerous men, and they're not. This is not a tag team, so each one is going to have to stand on their own 2 feet that night.
Could you ever see a tag team fight in Bloodsport, or is that something we're going to shy away from?
I have the concept for it, but it's not something I feel like that we really need.
When you think about Natty Neidhart taking on Masha, and you're talking about WWE Town and TNA Town, we've seen a lot of that lately. These two women in this element is going to be something special, right?
Oh, I mean, there's just no way of avoiding that. This is either going to be the most violent car crash ever, or the most poetic dance of violence you'll ever see for these two. And you've got young coming up against veteran, but it's not that Masha Slamovich is just some babe in the woods anymore. Like, she's a very established wrestler, and she's got titles and victories under her belt that are worthy enough to put her in the ring with anybody. And to be honest, to put her in a title shot with anyone out there in professional wrestling. They got into it online, and that's how this came about. Obviously, there are some very strong opinions about each other and about one another. So I guess, all that was left to do was to just fight about it.
Pete Dunne is taking on Jonathan Gresham at Bloodsport, two of the best mat technicians in professional wrestling today, but also not afraid to trade strikes. What can we expect from that fight?
Well, I do think this is going to be a mostly ground-based encounter, but the person that's able to take advantage of those moments of surprise where that striking can come to play, or maybe an opportunity to use a counter into something big, some sort of a slam, some sort of a suplex or buster, who knows? I think that's going to be the difference that takes one over the other.
When you think back about people that could have been in Bloodsport that just came along too soon, who's someone in the past that you would love to have seen in the concept?
Oh, well, I mean, well, we could be here all day
Yes.
bringing up names like Volcon or, you know, Nobuhiko Takada. Who knows? I mean, I could probably never could have got Takada to do this, but that's the kind of stuff I think about. But, we have a whole past of things that inspired Bloodsport that we pay homage to all the time. And those men and women, they had their moments, and boy, were they incredible. Um, and through those moments, through those seeing those matches and being inspired by them, you see a continuation of that spirit in what we do in Bloodsport.
William Regal is someone who stands out to me that would have been so perfect for the concept of Bloodsport, considering his career in Fit Finley as well. And William Regal's son, Charlie Dempsey, is going to be appearing
Mhm.
at Bloodsport. What do you see in Charlie that is reminiscent of his father?
Yes, I have nothing but the highest honor and respect for William Regal, and he has been incredibly helpful, not just in with helping me with talent and things like that for this show, but also just in being able to get to pick his brain and glean some insight from him, from all of the experiences he's had, all the places he's been, and the matches he's worked. And I just really find that incredibly valuable to myself as someone within the business of professional wrestling. It's just been incredible. With Charlie, I see a very bright future. I see somebody that is built completely unlike anybody else in modern professional wrestling, and it is like the type of professional that you would have come across in the 70s or 80s, literally anywhere in the world. I think he is an incredible talent that will shine even more when allowed to see more of his personality and the way he approaches that side of wrestling. As for the technical side of it, like uh, the kid is fantastic.
What can we expect Charlie to be doing this weekend? Any words
Fighting
or
for his life. Yeah.
do you have any idea past 2025 what 2026 may hold for Bloodsport?
I don't have anything set at the moment, but I just know that it's going to be another fantastic year for what we do. Uh, we keep improving in different ways all the time with this product, and you know, doing a second international show out in London opens the doors for more possibilities with taking this thing around the world. And it's very simple. Like if you guys ask for it, we can try and come there. So if a promoter want to bring us over, or someone want to team up with us and bring this show abroad overseas some more, I mean, we're down for it. And that's what we do. GCW and myself, we're here to bring you the best wrestling we can with what's available to us. So, we love to bring the show.
Before we wrap up, I do have to ask you, you were part of a very interesting moment this past month in Atlanta as you helped Goldberg walk to the ring from his locker room and then were in the ring for when the interview got cut off at the end,
Mhm.
unfortunately. What was it like to be a part of that with Bill, and what were your thoughts on what happened at the end?
Um, I was incredibly honored to be there with my friend and to see him to the ring one last time, and to be a part of that entourage, walking Goldberg to the ring, which in some ways is very surreal to think as a kid watching Goldberg's debut, which I did see, and just being like, oh wow, what the hell am I watching here? This guy is something else, and tracking his career and being such a huge fan, to then meeting him and over time becoming an incredibly close friend of mine and my family's. Then you know it all culminates into being there in his final match at WWE. So so crazy. And as far as like, yeah, I mean, it's television, and I know that things are far more fixed in terms of what time you have and what you're able to do within the constraints of television. Um, I when I heard that it had been cut off, it didn't surprise me that that could
Hmm.
happen. Um, I'm always a little nervous about TV because I tend to be a bit long-winded, so I have to try and think about being far more concise when I know that that camera's going to be on my face. But look, it was Bill's final match. The emotions, the moment itself. I mean, even funny enough. So none of this got caught on camera, but Cody came to the ring,
Right.
and I just remember I'm standing there. I'm like, what is this? And so like me and Chuck Zito and other people are looking at Cody like, oh, is something going to happen? And he's just looking at, he just eventually he comes over. He's like, no, I see all you guys staring at me. Just came out to give him my best.
When you think about Goldberg's impact on professional wrestling, Goldberg kind of leads a path of MMA in America, and his movements, and with Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn, the evolution of it really now leads to Bloodsport, does it not?
Oh, yeah, there is absolutely some of that there. And, when Bill came onto the scene, I remember there was a lot of really, really stupid takes, which there's never like any lacking for there,
No.
especially with the internet.
Yes.
But it was that he was a Steve Austin Stone Cold ripoff. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, that they couldn't be any further from the truth, other than being bald and having a goatee, which, if anybody can remember back in 1995 or whatever, 94, that wasn't that was like a style that people had. So
Yes.
anyways, but they were very, very different types of wrestlers and characters. I mean, hell, Stone Cold's thing really became more about him on the stick, more so than being in the ring at times.
Right.
And Bill didn't even speak for almost the entirety of his career. He didn't cut promos. He said, "Who's next?" And that's it, or if he even spoke at all. I remember early on, like we wouldn't even talk to the interviews, like just turn his back on him and he's gone. And it was a really, really, really radical way to approach wrestling, because we had all known about, or we'd all seen squash matches, as they call them, and
Sure.
all this. But this wasn't just about squash matches. This was about creating this juggernaut that would have so much momentum and to be such a force out there that then you started to go like, okay, well, where do you even go with this? And
Yeah.
how long is the streak going to last? And these other things that in wrestling just really hadn't been touched upon in a long time. And I guess maybe the closest to that could have been, maybe like, Bruno Sammartino in his day. But, but even then, Goldberg was a very different approach to the unstoppable one. But yeah, it had a huge effect. Ultimately, I feel like it was massively positive, and boy, it did capture our attention. What an impact!
When you think about the integration of UFC, WWE, TKO, you've had some pointed comments about WWE Untold and your thoughts on it, but we are now in what is not the sports entertainment world anymore. It is just the entertainment world, and Bloodsport stands itself apart from that. Is that right?
Well, I mean, we also don't delve into any of the ways that WWE uses its platform to make money, because that is a whole different kind of animal than what we do with Bloodsport. We're a small show that we sell out our arenas that are much smaller. We have our streaming content on Fight TV, well, a Triller Plus. Um, Whereas the WWE has a massive labyrinthine network of lawyer crafted, rights deals and IP stuff, and that is it's a whole different animal. And I don't, I don't. At the same time, I mean, they're dealing huge numbers, huge money, making
Yeah.
the biggest events in the world. Uh, but the idea of that is really quite intimidating to me because I have an understanding of how complex that gets and what kind of infrastructure that you have to have put together to be able to operate on that. And the thing is, you could say, well, why do they do it that way? And it's because that had been done already.
Yeah.
In the world of just content and entertainment on these different streaming platforms, which is just basically like television anymore now. It just, the game changed and everybody is changing with it. So to not be out there making those agreements and selling your product that way would arguably put you behind everybody else. So it's a completely different beast. One that, I do envy how a WWE or a UFC, can put together the events that they do. It's so impressive to be at something like WrestleMania. And I know that SummerSlam is going to be impressive too. To see the amount of people and the production and everything, man, it is something else. But I like that I can just be a Bloodsport and I can just put my hand on everything that's there, and it feels so much easier to control. And the things that could go wrong are so much less than what could for them. So I don't know. My main thing is to just focus on the wrestling as best as possible.
How many tickets do you know are still on sale? Because I see the advertisement. There are a few tickets still left. Do you think you'll sell out?
We usually do. In fact, we've sold out just about every single show we've ever done.
Tickets are available right now if you visit Josh on his social media at Josh L. Barnett. It is available streaming 1 p.m. Eastern this Saturday on Triller TV Plus. Josh, anything you can tease about something we don't know about on Saturday?
Well, I will be announcing the last matchups. I'll start with throwing at least 2 or 3 of them out today. And we'll know I'll have the whole card released within a day or two.
So we got Eric and Ivar, the War Raiders, making their Bloodsport debut in what sounds like singles matches. You have Charlie Dempsey taking on Dominic Garrini. You have Masha and Natalia, Pete Dunne taking on Jonathan Gresham. What is the main event Saturday?
It's going to be Pete Dunne versus Jonathan Gresham, with the co-main event is going to be Natty Neidhart versus Masha Slamovich.
What are you looking forward to the most?
All of it. Just seeing them kick the ever-living crap out of each other. It's going to be great. This show, I'm not getting into the ring, but it just allows me that much more time to sit back and just take it in with my own eyes instead of having to focus on my own match.
Tickets are available right now. Head over to Josh's social media at Josh L. Barnett. On X, tickets are available through Eventbrite. You can stream it on Triller TV Plus 1 p.m. this Saturday. Watch it before SummerSlam on the first night of it. You'll have plenty to enjoy, and it will be an amazing event as always. Josh, any last words?
Yeah, come check us out, especially if you can be there live. But if not, watch us on Triller Plus. And it's a great lead-in to get you all pumped up for SummerSlam, which is going to be an incredible event.
Josh, I want to thank you so much for taking the time this morning for Blood with Breakfast on here, podcastheatwrestling.com. We'll have more coming up later this week. Make sure you stay tuned to our social media. You can follow Josh at Josh L. Barnett. I'm at Derek Sabato, and we're going to wrap up now. Josh, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. We wish you all the success with Bloodsport this weekend.
All right. Thank you. My pleasure.
Hit subscribe, hit like, turn on notifications next time we go live, and we'll see you next time right here on podcastheatwrestling.com.